Welcome back, everybody, to another round of Nostalgia TV, the graveyard shift of forgotten television shows. This time we're going back to 1989, or should I rather say we're sticking around in the 80s for a little bit longer. We're going to be doing Tales from the Crypt, Season 1 that aired on HBO.
I remember when your mom said reading comic books would rot your brain. Well, she was right. Tales from the Crypt. For all of you who didn't listen to Mommy.
Bastards are gonna own me.
Papa's getting wasted tonight.
I am completely out of ammo.
Cross my heart, smack me dead, stick a lobster on my head.
Situation has indeed worsened. You think?
And when I return, I'm gonna drink a bottle of scotch, as if it were Chicky von Richthofen's blood, and celebrate.
Afraid we're at an impasse.
You really are filthy.
And fine. Come upstairs and see my etching.
And again, welcome back, everybody. Happy Halloween month. It is October. Kevin, did you ever watch this one when you were a kid, or what was your first experience or foray into Tales of the Crypt?
Oh gosh, you know, this was on every once in a while when I'd go over to my aunt and uncle's house because they had cable.
Yeah, like me and my dad.
Yeah, but it wasn't something I got to watch all the time. So I don't think there was never a scheduled time that I got to watch this. No.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even right away because this was like 89. My dad, I think, got his satellite dish in 91/92. So I caught later seasons at my dad's house because I'd come over for the summer. I'd be there for a month and I'd be able to catch up on basically a bunch of episodes like real quick. So
Yeah.
And the joys of VCR. So
yeah, especially late at night on HBO.
Hells yeah. And you know, I have some pretty good memories of this, but when we were watching the season 1 right here, I only remembered about like 2 episodes actually.
Yeah, I think same here, which again, like we were saying just before we started, is a lot more than I remembered from, say, like all of season 1 of Friday the 13th. I didn't remember any of that except for the pilot.
Yeah, and my memory of fucking Friday the 13th, the show, is basically something that's not until the 2nd season anyway. Goddamn bee episode.
Bees! But no, golly, this I thought this was going to be much longer than what it was.
That's what she said.
Giggity. I thought it was going to be a lot racier than what it was, being that it's HBO, and I just remember like this having titties galore
and swearing galore.
Yeah, and it does, but golly, I did not remember like how good this show made me feel to watch. And I don't know what that says about me, but this is very much a comfort show for me. Like I totally felt at home watching this. I felt happy watching this. Depression lifted. It's the perfect horror show. It really is.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. Don't mind me messing with my camera, everybody. It's very reminiscent of the very first episode with Bill Sadler, where he's like talking to the camera, and it's like, that's actually kind of off-putting a little bit, but nah, it's a fun show. It's a good comfort show for me too. I just wanted to just sit back and rewatch. I burned through these 6 episodes like they were nothing. In my mind, I always felt like these were like longer episodes than they really were. Like I really haven't legitimately watched this show in a very long time. I mean, I got the DVD set, I got the box, but it's taken me a long time to finally get around to rewatching this, and I'm glad we're doing that this month. So I'm enjoying the hell out of this, but like I burned through these 6 episodes because they're only like 25 minutes a piece.
Yeah, I expected it to be twice as long, so I was pretty happy about that. I watched them all yesterday while my wife was gone, and my wife and kids were gone. So it was like quiet in the house. It was just me and the dog, and I was laughing my ass off watching these. Like the irony was fantastic. The storytelling is amazing, and I got to sit and watch it all in such great detail on the big screen. So I was like, "Oh, thank you, God, thank you."
Now that's entertainment.
I love him. Like, I owe so much of my personality to that stupid character. I really do.
John
Like,
Kassir is great, you know.
so hacky.
Yeah.
Pun fully intended. Like, I love him.
I love the cackle. I love the laugh. There's so much like underlying tones to the voice and the character. Like the first episode, you feel, okay, this is it. I get this. By the time you get to the second and third episodes, he's totally in character. He owns the character, and it stays that way for the length of this show and into the movies.
I was a little put off seeing him walk and seeing his feet.
Oh, is Santa?
Yeah, that was weird at first. Like, oh shit, he's walking. Oh shit.
I did not remember that like at all.
No.
And I actually do remember that episode.
Yes, that was the Santa episode is one that I remember fairly well.
Yeah.
Not like very explicitly, but I remember the plot, like her having committed a crime and not being able to call the cops because she just committed a crime. It's like, oh, naughty. But I didn't realize like all the fun little details that were in the episode, like, and they packed a lot into 25 minutes.
Yeah, they certainly did. Now, why don't we just get right to it? We'll do our episode by episode breakdown. But before we do, everybody, please hit the like button down below. Make sure you have a comment. You got any memories? Anything? Bueller, put it down below in the comment section. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that little bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. Yes, we are doing the show at the front of the episode again now, too. So that said, let's get into the episodes. Kevin, we got the very first one, The Man Who Was Death.
Oh, God. Okay, so that was like instantly a smile. Like the pilot had me smiling a couple times at the very beginning within seconds, starting off with the music. It wasn't the music to the show itself, which is how we expected the show to start, but it did not. But it starts with like this circus type music that was just so good that you're just kind of like, okay, what's coming up here? Like you were really entertained watching it. And then seeing William Sadler come on the screen, knowing that he's the hero in the first Friday, or not Friday the 13th. That's last week. The first Tales from the Crypt movie. So it's like, oh God, that was kind of special.
Yeah, that was great. And this show came out well before that. So I'm glad they brought him back for the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Now, whether or not that was intentional or not, probably not. That was, whatever. Kind of like when they hired Annette O'Toole in Smallville. They're like, oh, she was in Superman 3?
Oh,
I'll
shit.
be damned.
Oh.
Cool.
Winky dinks. unless the casting director was like, hey, we got to get him back.
Yeah, right.
I don't mind through lines like that. Like you can keep a returning kind of actor coming back. It's fine.
Sure.
It'd be like the same if they had like Clint Howard in like 4 different episodes playing completely different characters, but yet they're all still the same character.
So since we're talking about him and I've been chatting your ear off about it all evening, he's in the new Salem's Lot movie.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he's another wasted talent in the film. Like, he's getting up there in age, so they can't do a whole lot with him at this point.
Right.
And it is starting to show on him a little bit.
Oh, okay. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. I hope to soon.
Yeah, but like, it's nice to see him, but they could have done a little bit more with his character. They could have let him chew a little bit more scenery.
Yeah, he's a surprisingly good actor who I feel like never really got the notoriety or the fame he really should have gotten, because he's a really good actor and he can play a wide variety of roles and he succeeds very well at doing it. It's like some version of like Willem Dafoe that just never hit that level, and I wish he had.
Well, it's like I told my wife, and I tried like hell to get her to watch the pilot episode with me. She does not like the show, never has for whatever reason.
Or loss.
Yeah, kind of. I'm like, his narration of the pilot episode is fantastic. His acting in it is fantastic, but the narration makes it worth it. Like, you want to sit and listen to everything he has to say. You don't have to see what he's doing to listen and be enthralled to his narration of it. Like,
Right.
it was perfect. He was great. They couldn't have gotten anybody else better for that character than William Sadler.
No, I completely agree. And the only reason why I even said it was a little off-putting is it was kind of, if you're a first-time watcher of the show, it's gonna make you wonder, like, what the hell am I doing? What's going on with this episode? He keeps talking to the camera, then he's talking to other people, and then the plot's moving forward. Then he's talking to the camera again. And so it's like he's continually breaking like the fourth wall, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that's only just a one-time thing. They do not replicate that ever again. So that's a unique way to do a pilot and be like, man, if this is what this show's going to be like, it's kind of interesting. But then they automatically just shift right into anthology horror right after this based off of the comics. So I appreciate what they were trying to do, but for first-time viewers, if you're not used to that kind of thing, it's a little jarring, but they don't stay with that for the next 5 episodes. So it gives you a chance to get used to the show and how it's structured.
Yeah, but it was fun. Like, I definitely marked it down on my notes. Like, oh shit, they break the fourth wall. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, well, right away I'm like, wait, I don't remember this. I do not remember this episode like at all. I actually forgot he was even in this show. And I know I've seen this before, but I just don't remember it.
Yeah, I don't think I do it all either. Like, maybe the very beginning before he starts talking.
I seem to if anything, I might remember the ending.
Yeah, okay.
Or the hair sizzling,
The hair sizzling.
I thought the governor would call.
I love that though. Like, I've been here for 12 years and he's not called a single once. And you're like, oh shit. And everyone's certain that the governor's gonna call for them.
Oh yeah.
And in 12 years, he ain't never called once. It's like, nuke him. Nuke him. This must be Texas. Nuke him.
Yep. Goodbye. See you later. Bye, Felicia.
But he enjoyed what he did. I loved him. Like, he was an executioner that believed in what he did and then got screwed by the system. Like, got laid off because the governor decided that they no longer wanted the death penalty. And so canceled it. But my man still felt like he had a job to do, so starts going around electrocuting bad guys like Dexter.
Yep.
And so you really couldn't feel bad. Like this was the one time where you're kind of like rooting for the person that does fall victim at the end. Like, otherwise, like the rest of the episodes, like the person that gets screwed by the end, you don't feel bad for them. Like, they're a victimizer of some sort. This is the only time where the executioner is kind of like, you know what? I really like them though. Like,
yeah,
they weren't really a bad guy.
A little on the endearing side, but it's also because of him that they reinstitute the death penalty and bring it right back.
I didn't catch that part. That was funny.
Yeah, I appreciated that. They packed in like so much in 25 minutes. If there was one like actual drawback, I would say to this show is capping these at 25 minutes while it keeps the episodes tight and, I would just say like tight, that there's no wiggle room for like sort of like fillerness to them. But I feel like you could actually pull like an extra 20 minutes out of almost each of these episodes for a full 45-minute episode.
Oh,
I feel like it would have worked a little bit better, but I know they're also working with like the budgets that HBO is affording them, and they just had to make do with what they could. But, with all the production staff and the crew and the directors and actors they were hiring, it's like, man, most of your budget was going to pay all these guys anyway. You're talking like Zemeckis, you're talking like Dean Cundy, talking Bill Sadler, you're talking ML Emmett Walsh later on. I mean, you got all these like actors. Leah Thompson, for crying out loud, is in this. I like her episode. She plays a hooker. So
with HPV. Yeah, like everybody that was in this was like pretty perfect. Like they gave 110% to their role. Like they were definitely having fun in what they were doing.
oh yeah.
I don't even think I've enjoyed seeing Leah Thompson in anything else more than I enjoyed her seeing in this. Like she's not a good person at all, but God, did she just like nail it? She did such a fantastic job at being just like this despicable person.
This is like the bad version of the character in Howard the Duck. And that's a good thing. Like she's stunning in this show, and her acting performance is just off the chart. Like, hey, when you're working with good talent all around, cast, crew, writers, directors, producers, and you have the high level talent like this, you easily see their strengths, and you wonder, man, I wonder why that person didn't hit like stratosphere superstar level. Like she was freaking gorgeous, and I totally loved her episode. It was one of my favorites of this first 6.
Oh gosh.
I wouldn't even say I disliked any of them. The only one that was kind of goofy was the final one. And we'll get to that.
Yeah, you know I have issues with shit like that, but it was forgivable.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, the pilot kind of sells you on what the show is. It pulls no punches, and it's fun. Like it leaves you wanting more. Like you're like, and people had to wait another week for like what happens next. Well, not what happens next, but like the next fuckered up story. Like this is a very bingeable show. So to come in at 10 o'clock on a Friday night or Thursday night, whatever it was back then, this would have killed me just being as short as it was.
I know. Like, I think back then, I'm like,
because it was
5 minutes and it's over. Shit.
It was very formulaic. To your point, you only had so much time to work with because you had to have that ironic twist at the end. Like that's
the zinger.
Yeah, you always had to have that as the cherry on top. Like there had to be some sense of irony, and it had to be a sense of twist that's going to like screw the main character. And even as formulaic as it was, like you couldn't wait to see it happen. It was always amusing. Like, and the bad guy, the main character, was usually like a super famous person, and you loved seeing how they died. The more horrible it was, the more thrilling the episode it was. And it really starts out with William Sadler's ironic death of, like you said, because of how many people he was killing and the nature of the deaths, they reinstated the death penalty just for him. And so he gets to die back in his chair doing his old job, sitting in it.
I'm so metal.
So metal. I don't need no sponge.
I ain't gonna shave my head because the governor's gonna call and save my life because he knows I'm doing the Lord's work.
That's right.
Brother, you had another thing coming.
Yeah, they didn't forgive Dexter neither, Home Slice. Sorry.
No, they did not. No, I like this first episode, and it definitely shows like the freedom that HBO afforded. Like you could be freer with your language, you could be freer with nudity, and a lot freer with the gore.
Yeah,
not necessarily in the first episode, but it gives you enough to know, oh man, this is gonna get some wicked stuff going on, and the next few episodes show how gory it could get.
Yes, and it did get gory.
Yeah, there's a later episode. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of blood. That's Ash versus the Evil Dead level blood.
Yeah, like they just had no problem just like tossing buckets of blood from behind the camera and just like having you be like arterial spray. Ha ha.
Yeah, and I remember like for years always hearing like so many people wanted to work on this show because of how much fun everybody had.
Oh, I bet.
And working with like Robert Zemeckis, Fred Decker, you could go down the list of everybody involved with the show. A lot of people wanted to work on these shows, regardless of how big of a name or a little name they were. And it's almost like a badge of honor that you got to work on Tales from the Crypt. I keep saying Tales of the Crypt. I know it's Tales from the Crypt. It's how I've always said the name of this goddamn show and movie.
Next year it'll be Tales from the Crypt side. So,
and as long as it's not the animated series.
That's streaming free right now. So like definitely check it out if you get a chance. It's a piece of history. It's one of those cartoons.
Piece of something.
Like, you know what? We can make a cartoon of anything. Here's another example. There was Mr. T, there's Rambo. Now we've got Tales from the Crypt. RoboCop, Tales from the Crypt.
Yep. And then we finally get a real animated something or other with Batman the animated series, and then everything changes. And Spawn.
And Tales from the Crypt.
Well, I'd also kind of like to think like Tales from the Crypt helped lead to the options to be able to do more horror-based programming on HBO. Later, we would get our Spawn and other, Carnival later on. Like if it wasn't for Tales of the Crypt, we might not have gotten these kind of things on HBO.
I don't know that we would have gotten the Thursday and Friday night frights on Fox had it not been for this show. And I know that was 1987, 1988, but still, like, its popularity peaked in 89 with this. Like, the whole culture at that point was really peaking in the late 80s. So, I don't know. Like, I really think this show spearheaded the horror in a good direction. And when it was going in a much more lackluster direction, like you were starting to see the quality of movies go down. The quality of this TV series never went down. Like it was always consistently good.
And it actually seems to go up the more the show went on.
Yeah. Like this is one of the higher rated shows that we've done in a while. On a level of comparison, that's not to say that we've been watching shitty things the last few months. No, not at all.
No.
But this is also much higher rated than a lot of the movies we've been watching lately. And we've been watching some pretty decent movies, too.
I'll say. And I'm really glad that we're actually doing this one. It was a quick and easy watch. First episode was great. And then we get right on into And All Through the House. The Santa episode, everybody.
This is probably the one I remember the best.
Yep, same here.
I did not necessarily remember that Larry Drake was Santa, but I remember the smile.
Yeah, I remember the smile. I remember the axe and holding the kid's hand at the end.
Yeah.
And the mom screaming her head off.
Literally.
It's like, holy shit. And then you just end it. And it's like, what the fuck happens? And then you just go to the Crypt Keeper and he's like, goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, like, oh, and don't worry. The kid was fine. Santa only likes older women.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Just like Short Round said about Indiana Jones.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
No time for love, Dr. Jones. But the Maharaja, maybe he'd like older women.
But like even in the 90s, or not the 90s, the late 80s, early 90s, like that was a thing. That was a joke. Like they wanted to make sure that the only people that really bought it on this show were bad people. Like you couldn't feel bad about anybody that got killed on this show. So like in these early episodes, they want you to know the kid's okay. Mom bought it though. She's a bitch.
She bought the house, literally.
She was going to inherit it.
Well, and her boyfriend Vic, that she called and left a message. Hey, I took care of everything. All the money's ours. It's like, oh, lady, if you live, you are so screwed in general. And immediately when the Santa attacked and we heard the radio program, I'm like, yo, when you're calling the police, that Santa was just here. He killed my husband. It took another like 5 minutes before she came to that realization of, oh, I pinned it on the Santa guy. And it's like, well, I guess I understand that was a plot point, but like hindsight is 2020. I look back and I'm like, she should have done that immediately and she wouldn't have been in the problems that she had.
Kind of, yeah. Like, let's just like fortune smiling upon you.
Yeah. But I also really enjoyed the kid being like, come on, Santa, you slow ass, get up here.
You can do it.
The
Don't
kid's
slip,
antagonizing
Daddy.
the horrible looking Santa to scale up the house and into our bedroom. Then they
Yeah,
magically appear downstairs. It's like, what the fuck with the transporting? But whatever.
it worked out. It worked out because it was
Yeah.
all like dun 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 bum bum. Like, you were like so praying and hoping for her and with her that she was going to get out of that closet and get to her kid in time, and no, the kid was never in danger. That was the greatest
No.
part about it.
Yeah. And like he's total psycho, but he ain't gonna hurt a kid.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm not a monster, lady. Jesus.
Yeah, because all they mentioned during that radio intro with the crazy Santa escaped a mental patient was basically like he's killed 4 adult women, and now
Oh,
she was
that's
going to
right.
be like the 5th, and he's probably going to get blamed for the axe smashed to the head of the husband / stepfather to the little girl.
The stepfather was Quado in Total Recall.
Yep.
So like there was definitely like Joel Silver friends in this TV series.
Oh, absolutely.
Along with
Everybody had
Mary,
their friends on.
yeah, along with Mary Ellen Trainor, who this was probably the best thing that she ever did.
I would say so. She was great.
Probably the most lines she ever had in anything I've ever seen too. Like
That too.
But she was fantastic.
Yes.
I loved how evil she was. You didn't feel bad for her, but you did at the same time. Like the husband was definitely abusive, was definitely an asshole, but she was
Just
also,
give it to me.
yeah, just whoring it out anyway. So they all needed to die.
Oh yeah, and they bought it all just fine. I appreciated it. So
The Foley effects for her hitting him in the head with the axe was pretty amazing.
oh my god, the missing the head like twice, and then because she wasn't watching, and then she actually had to make herself watch to get him straight on the forehead.
It was I
liked how they had like the false finish with it too, where she thought he was dead and he grabbed up at her as she's hauling his big ass, and she's making comments of, I told you should have lost some weight. That was super funny. But then he grabs her and then he finally actually dies.
Now that when you mention that, going back to what you were saying with the freedom that HBO had with the writing and stuff like that, golly, they really perfect the combination of horror and comedy in this too. Do you think that was writing, directing, or like the talent just being like, hey, I would say this?
Probably a little bit of everything. Like the writing staff clearly had a finger on the pulse for like a quick wit, even dry wit at times. Like they clearly knew what they were doing, and like they worked these scripts out like a T. Flowed very nicely, very well directed. I don't know how well the actors had freedom going on with this, but it certainly felt like they were able to jump into these characters a lot more than you would think on any other show.
Yeah.
Like compare this to say Friday the 13th, another horror anthology show. You got to basically stick to your characters in that kind of a show. In something like this, I mean, if I was a name actor of any sort back then and I got to work with them, I'd be like, hey, you guys mind if I, wear like a watch a certain way, or can you mind if I open the robe up just a tick more and make it a little sexier? Like that would totally work.
Merry Christmas, you son of a bitch.
I mean,
just saying.
Put my titties away.
Holster them bitches, Kevin.
Sons of bitches. This was gritty.
Winter Christmas special, everybody. So it'll be a fun Easter egg for all of you sticking around till December.
It was fun seeing a Christmas episode come up at episode number 2.
Oh yeah.
It's like I like Christmas horror. I've always said that. It's the naughtiest. Like seeing the Crypt Keeper running around as Santa Claus was kind of killing me because, like, he's short, but you never really notice it until he's running around like that. And I'd never seen him running around before, other than the movie, I think. And so it was just funny as hell. I lost my Joffrey. I
had to let a pet out of the room.
Oh, is that what you kids call it these days?
Yep, I had to zip it back up.
Speaking of which, I busted a zipper today. Anyway, yeah.
It was Merry Christmas, dude.
Merry Christmas. Christmas horror is ironic, and again, that's what the show did the best. So, like, I loved everything about this episode. Like, you were excited and happy at the end, just as Santa was happy and excited, and the kid was happy and excited.
Well, I was clearly getting some homages going on. Like, I definitely felt a little Silent Night. I felt a little Black Christmas from Bob Clark. So there's a nice subtle references to other crazy Santa horror movies from the 70s and the 80s. So I appreciated that.
See, it sounds bad, but like my only evil Santa experience is Ian McShane. So
which one was him?
American Horror Story season 3.
Oh, I never watched that show.
The first 3-4 seasons are pretty darn good.
Okay.
The first 3 seasons are really good. He plays this character, the escaped convict from an asylum that dresses up as Santa and kills ladies. So,
that actually kind of now reminds me of A Christmas Horror Story, which has William Shatner as a radio DJ in it. And one of the murderous Santas in the movie is completely psychotic, and he's envisioning that he actually is Santa, and he's being swarmed by killer elves. And the realization is he's not killing elves, he's actually killing real people because he's delusional and completely lost his mind.
Cool.
It's a fun movie. I like it. A lot of people don't like that one, but I get a kick out of that one. Amy tried to watch that and she was like, the fuck, I'm ever watching these kind of movies with you again.
Was that Rare Imports?
No, it's A Christmas Horror Story. It's legitimately the name of the movie.
Oh, okay.
Rare Exports is pretty good though. There's some really good like Christmas horror movies that maybe we'll see if we can get around to, but we got a couple nice movies we're covering come December, so we'll have to see how we handle that.
I don't remember what we're doing for Christmas. I don't.
We only have like a movie or two picked out. There's 3 other weeks we got to pick out though.
Greatest story ever told. I don't know.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns, which is also the greatest story ever told. Batman Returns. Yeah. Anyway.
That'll be fantastic, everybody.
Fantastic.
Meow. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer. There's the Christmas Queen. I can't remember what the hell she was called. Might have been the Christmas Queen. Doesn't matter.
Michelle Pfeiffer, Kevin.
I don't know, man. Yeah. All right.
Well, but no, I really like the second one, and it's also actually written by Fred Decker. So,
okay.
Extra special bonus point to give to this episode for that, and he's written and directed another episode in here too. So,
okay, that was going to be my question. Is I heard you mention Decker's name. It's like, oh shit. All right, where did he pop in this?
Yeah, let's see here. He did. Yeah, and All Through the House, he did the writing on that one, and then he did Only Sin Deep.
I can see that.
Correct. He wrote 2 episodes.
I just like that guy. Like I don't.
That's the next one anyway for the directing.
I want to say I don't like the Monster Squad, but I do like Fred Dekker movies. I can't help it.
Yeah, I like Fred Dekker. He's pretty good. Not every movie's a hit, but like I enjoy most of them.
Night of the Creeps. That pretty much sold me. Like whatever he does is like gold from now on.
Night of the Creeps, bitches. It's on our 0 Point Reviews. Go back and check it out.
It's true.
Tom Atkins. He slept with your mother.
That's true.
It was the stash.
The stash. The porn stash.
Stash that grabs that ass. Any other thoughts about And All Through the House, Kevin?
No, I'm just thinking of that fucking broomstick fucking mustache tickling her ass. So no, I don't. Let's move on.
Okay, so then let's hit up the Matrix starring episode where Dig That Cat, He's Really Gone, starring Joe Pantoliano.
This was an episode that was like worth its weight in LSD. Robert Wall as the
so good.
What would you call him? Freak show?
The ringmaster.
Yeah, the ringmaster.
Yeah.
Sold this shit like nobody's business. Like being the ringmaster into the camera, not even a crowd, but still making you feel like he was like you were in a crowd that he was directing. Like he just owned that episode. Totally owned it. Was not the star of it, but owned the episode.
Yeah, he stood out the most, but Joe was fantastic as well, and I really enjoyed them. And I like their interactions together, even though like the scientist that put the cat gland in his head. So that's basically the gist of this episode is the scientist wants to give this basically homeless person as an experiment. I want to give you the cat gland that gives cats their 9 lives. And it's like an invisible man sort of thing. He puts a gland in his head, and then going forward, every time he dies, he comes back to life. So he gets the 9 lives of a cat. And the twist at the end, and who cares about spoilers? It's a freaking like
30-year-old, 40-year-old.
Yeah, the show has been around for like 25 years now. So 35 years. I can't.
We're old.
I can't do math. I need to do Steiner math up in here right now. Anyways, so the big twist is the cat died with 1 life, and he really only got 8. And the miscalculation is he thought he would be able to live 1 more time to get his last big score of money from the circus. And that is not how it works out. And I was like, oh shit, I don't remember that. That's actually really clever. Because I was keeping a kill count on my list. I was marking down every time he died. And I'm like, oh, he's down to 8. He'll get 1 more. And then he's like, oh shit, the cat died. That was 1. And I'm like, oh fuck. I wasn't counting that.
The cat's life itself was one of them.
Yep.
Oh, shitty.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a pet person, you might take a little exception to this episode, but I'm a pet person and it didn't really bother me. They didn't really kill a cat, people.
No. And believe me, it gets worse like by the end of the season. So if this bothers you, just stop watching.
Yeah, because you ain't gonna make it through the 6th episode at that rate.
Yeah. But this is okay. Like I love me some kitty cat and whatnot, but what they showed was very much prosthetic, very much
it was
a doll.
Yeah.
So much so where you're just kind of like,
I thought they used like a stuffed pet or stuffed animal,
Yeah, it was so
I'm like, that's not a fucking cat.
Offensive at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it worked out, and it worked to the irony of it. it wasn't a black cat, it was black and white, but like it all just kind of fed together with the mythos of cat's luck being deceitful. Like it kind of worked, and I liked it. Him deceiving the doctor when he could have had the doctor put another gland in him. You know,
That's what I thought.
Kind of stupid, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like, hey, well, I couldn't understand the jealousy from the doctor initially, actually. I'm like, what's he jealous about? Him getting the girl? He's getting money too. I didn't understand what the doctor was getting a little jealous about, but ultimately he didn't Joe's character didn't want to share the money. What was his name? That was
Ulrich.
Ulrich. Yep. The undying Ulrich. So yeah, he took care of him real quick. He just was driving with him and he ran the car into the wall and he was like, I'm gonna live, you're not.
Yeah. It was so stupid, but it was cool.
Yep.
I died too.
Yep. And then also later on, they had a little line that I really got a kick out of. I don't know if you caught this, but I'm going to play this clip right here.
80% of the box office take, payola from HBO, and some side bet money too.
Payola from HBO. Blinking, you missed that shit. I got a kick out of that. It cracked me up.
That's right, Fox. They did it first.
Yep. And Stargate SG-1, they did it first too.
Oh, did they?
Well, they did Showtime like years later. Tales from the Crypt did it first.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Because
in the one of the episodes for Stargate SG-1, it's like, did they have Showtime on this thing? That's towards the end of the first season, everybody. Sorry.
Tongue in cheek.
Yep. But I like it when they slide in little jokes like that. That's for the people who are really paying attention or kind of like insiders.
Incestual? Gross.
Insiders.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to get us demonetized. We just got monetized, Kevin.
Sorry. You're the one saying inside her. Like, Jesus. At least we haven't mentioned Diddy.
Are you ready?
You bet your ass I'm ready.
That was gross. That was so gross. And that was a commentary on humanity. That was up there with The Running Man.
I thought they were ripping off Betty White.
Oh, shit. Like, she really reminded me of The Running Man, where like he's asking the old lady, who do you want to bet on? Oh, I want to bet on Ben, whatever the fuck his name on. He's one mean motherfucker.
Yep.
No, you don't understand the bet. No. I want to bet on anyway. Yeah. I want to kill a man. I'm $10,000. I want to kill a man. And like people were savagely like salivating to be able to kill Joe.
Yep.
Ulrich.
$1,000 a piece. One shot each. And then they finally get a professional archer, and it's like, yeah, he's dead.
Then that's before, or that's after he gets shot in the nuts. I didn't mean to hit him in the dick. I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
Or that was the kid. The kid shot him in the balls.
Yeah.
That was fucking funny. Come on. Dad trying to like man up his son by making him kill a man.
Isn't that how you got manned up, Kevin? Come on.
Well, I mean, yes, I grew up with firearms in that respect, but never like living targets.
I'm kidding.
Like my dad was very much be a man. But I liked guns. You didn't have to fucking like I was never scared of guns or anything like that.
Yeah. Didn't have to try too hard, Dad.
Yeah, throwing knives and arrows at people, I'm not afraid of that.
Oh yeah, no.
As long as it's not being thrown at me, it's all good.
Yeah.
Well, see, here's my thing. Like, I can't throw. Like,
really?
No, not at all. I cannot throw like straight to save my life. Like, my favorite bad guy is Bullseye because I can't do what he does at all. Like, I'll fly before I throw straight. And so it's like to say Kev throws like a girl is like so like insulting to girls. Anyway.
You throw like a cat, Kevin. with no lives left.
With no lives left. A polydactyl cat, even.
Yeah.
Can't use its thumb. Yeah.
Nah, but I got a kick out of that episode. Dig the cat. He's really gone.
He's really gone.
I don't know where they came up with some of the names for these titles. Like, some of them are appropriate. Some of them are like, what the fuck? Where'd this come from? Were they high when they wrote this one?
Probably. There was a lot of cocaine involved. It was the 80s.
That's true. It's a hell of a drug.
Good times.
Yep, but then we roll on into Leah Thompson's episode, Only Skin Deep, where she plays Sylvia, a prostitute who is eyeing up the rich playboy across the street, and you're automatically thinking like, oh, this is going to be kind of a Pretty Woman episode. Well, she promptly robs her pimp, shoots him dead, shoots him a few more times, tries to, turn the stuff into a pawnbroker, and he does not want the watch, he doesn't want the jewelry, he doesn't want any of that. He wants her beauty. He just wants to get a sculpt of her face and apply that to his dead wife, so she's looking beautiful. And it's a little of a satanic ritual, and she ends up, after 4 months, her beauty starts to dissipate and she turns into an ugly woman. She tries to reclaim her identity back, and unfortunately, it's about a little too late, because she killed her rich boyfriend that she was able to obtain, and she had to kill him in order to get the money to try and be able to revert back. But in doing so, she left the gun behind. She left a big crime scene behind with pictures of her in her beautiful form there. And she has to make that choice at the end. Do I want to be beautiful and then get arrested and be on the run for my life? Or do I want to stay ugly like this and I have to deal with this for the rest of my life? She gets punished one way or another. There's no easy way out. And this is a great episode. It's one of my favorites of this first 6 so far.
See, this is the one that I think slogged for me. And that's
Really?
yes, and that's no discredit to it. Like, it was a fantastic episode. Everything in it was great. I love the bad guy in it. Like, not so much Leah Thompson, but the guy that bought her beauty basically for his wife. I love him. But just compared to everything else, this one kind of slogged on for me.
Yeah.
And
this is the other one by Fred Decker too, by the way.
Okay. But it was also the most intriguing. Like, I loved the concept of him having that dead body in an open coffin, and it's starting to get younger.
Yeah.
And how cool is that? I fucking loved that shit. And you didn't have to see it happening back in the 80s. You just had to see at one point it's a dusty old cadaver. And now it's starting to be a beautiful looking girl that, if you had a drink, maybe if it was still warm, you'd fuck it. And then by the end of the episode, everything's fine again. And ready to forget that she was ever a corpse. Dusty.
Safety first.
That's Kevin for you, everybody.
Just showing its one-liners. As I'm talking about fucking corpses.
Yeah, to that point, I can see how some of the pacing kind of like didn't really work out for you. Like, there's some things they could have clipped out at the beginning of this. Like, she didn't have to kill the pimp. You could have just showed her on her own on the street, nothing else going on, and just gotten right into it as far as an episode goes. So I can see how I would say it's more at the beginning of the episode that kind of just set a tone for it. But this is one of those episodes that feels like it could have used the 45 minutes, so they could have structured it a little bit differently and paced it out a little more appropriately, instead of being like, yo, we got 45 pages here. We got to take 20 of these out. Go. Like, Fred, we love what you wrote, buddy, but like, yo, we got to cut this. We got to cut this down.
We got to take 20 out. That's so fucked up. Anyway,
it very well could have been that.
You know it was.
It's already like 35 years later, so.
Yeah. Which is funny because they don't tell you that at first until she goes to get her beauty back, and he's like, "You missed the date," and he's like very much pointing out the calendar and telling you
By
how long
one
it's been.
day.
And you're like, "Oh wow!" So she's been like peddling her ass for like God knows how long as her face is deteriorating. That started with a zit.
No.
So I mean, it was a fascinating episode. Just the beginning, like you said, there was that pacing issue for me. Yeah. Otherwise, it was great, absolutely great.
And Leah was absolutely fantastic on this.
Britt Leach, that's his name.
Oh yeah.
He was in The Great Outdoors. He plays the guy. Yes, who they saw him in the bar. And he had the skunk haircut, like had a white stripe. And Roman's making fun of him, like, and why you look like a skunk. And he got struck by lightning 6 times. 6 times. 666 times in the head.
Oh my god, that's really funny. I haven't seen that in a long time. I need to fire that up. That's a fun movie, dude.
Oh, it's one of the funniest ever, I think. But
no,
and he's just one part of it where you just kind of like his character was so memorable that you see him in something like this, and you're just like, oh, it's that one guy.
Oh yeah.
Head. So, but and then yes, the irony that you see at the beginning of the episode where Leah Thompson goes into the store trying to hawk all this shit, that he's kicking a woman out that's got a black veil over her face that's already having the same issue that Leah inevitably has. Which again, we mentioned her name, Vivian, is her last name was Vane. And you're like, oh, is that symbolism? I think so.
It could be.
Vain.
Dun, 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 dun.
You're pretty.
Crazy.
But you had sex with the duck, so we gotta go.
God, I'm horny.
Yay.
Well, enough about only Sin Deep. Let's head into one of the naughtier episodes of this first season. Lover Came Hack to Me.
This was
Amanda Plummer, everybody.
I wasn't quite sure where they were going to go with this episode.
I did not remember this at all. But when it was over, I'm like, I think I have seen this before, but only once.
Golly, I was not sorry to see Amanda Plummer in a bra and panties. Like, who
would be?
God, I miss the 1980s.
And the 90s.
But I wasn't sure how they were going to be playing her. Like, she was very simple in her
demure.
Her intellect was very simple. And I didn't know if she was going to be playing a crazy character, as she very commonly does. Like you see her in Prophecy, and she's like very much the type of person that's like screaming and shouting through the window and stuff as they're running at you with the fucking machete.
Yeah, pretty much.
But in this, she's much reserved, much more reserved. Like you don't know really what she's thinking until the end. Like
at least initially for a bit. And then once things start to go a little south and she changes outfits, it's like, oh, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Because in that moment, I'm like, oh, this bitch is crazy. And I'm like, this is about to get nuts. I literally wrote that down. She's changing. Oh shit, is this bitch crazy?
Is this bitch crazy? It's Amanda Plummer. Of course she is.
Of course, but still, like, I was a little surprised. I thought ultimately she would end up defending herself and killing him. No, she just straight up fucking killed everybody.
Yeah, and I thought she'd like killed him in his sleep and he was a ghost. I wasn't sure.
Or
Like I'm
something. Yeah.
crossing out my notes because I was wrong. It's like, okay, no, he's not dead. He's not seeing ghosts. Maybe he is. I don't know. But they get stuck at this abandoned house that no one's been in for like 20 years, apparently, except for the beds made.
Yep, perfectly. And the fire was created too.
Yes. Which I don't know if you've ever like been in a like completely bug infested place that's dirty as shit, but I don't want to take my genitals out there ever.
No, and he had no problem stripping down to basically nothing right away.
Yeah, like behold my ass in the moonlight.
You ever
Again,
danced with these cheeks in the pale moonlight?
booty clap, booty clap, booty clap. It was the 80s, so you know there had to be a little bit of spiciness to it, but this was not nearly as spicy as say like Freddy's Nightmares was.
Right. Like there was a love scene. It was relatively tame, but
Yeah.
they did show some skin. They just didn't show the kind of skin you would expect out of something that was on HBO late night.
Correct. And if you did get to see anything, it was a body double. It was not Amanda Plummer. Like they're respectful.
Most they had was like side boob and kind of a butt cheek.
Yeah.
For her.
So your imagination was hard at work in this episode, but it was
That's
enjoyable.
the only thing hard at work in this episode, Kevin.
It's a Dutch rudder. Dutch rudder.
Yeah, I know. A little rotator cuff issue, but I'll be all right. Stroke it out, everybody.
And then she says the one thing that like our generation has been brought up to like not want to hear at all. And that's that line from fucking Species. I made a baby.
Yep. It's the perfect baby.
It's about this big. Getting the fuck out. I don't want to know how you know that. I'm getting the fuck out because everything I've seen that someone says that the guy who just nutted gets killed. Now run.
Yep. Get out, Bo. Bro.
Bo.
Well, I really loved. He's like, I didn't really love you. I was actually trying to kill you so I could get your money. And she's like, but you still had sex with me. You gave me a baby. You dead anyway.
Yeah, like it's good enough.
And boy, did she get fucking bloody. Holy cow.
Yeah, there was some arterial spray on her.
She was like soaked. She looked like the Evil Dead remake, you know, at the very just completely soaked in blood over the face. I'm like, that's badass. That was
yeah, it was gruesome and fun. And again, she's one of those actresses that's just so cute where you're kind of like, I guess that's how a kink starts.
You dig crazy chicks, you dig crazy chicks.
It's true. And then it shows her mother and father, like how she was conceived, which was very similar.
Yep, she was replicating. And that's basically how the episode ends, is they talk about it. Got to keep the family tradition alive.
Yeah, and the aunt's been like taking care of this for like now the third generation.
Ensuring the cycle continues. Well, that should have been the tip off, because when they first left the aunt's house and she was getting kicked out of her house, so to speak, when they're driving off, she's just got this smile like, dude, you are so fucked. I totally appreciate. I should have gotten a clip of that or a picture, but I didn't think of that till like just now.
I didn't notice it at all.
I remember. I'm remembering it right back, and I'm like, oh man, when they drove off, she had that little smirk, like, yeah, you're about to get yours. I'm not worried about going fucking nowhere.
No whiz. And well, I mean, because at first you are kind of concerned for her. Like you figure that she's this simple thing that's going to get killed and bumped off for her money, like the guy's planning to do.
Yep.
And then no, she's the Black Widow with the plan, and it's funny as hell.
Yep.
And then her dad was very familiar. I had to like stop in IMDb because I'm like, her dad looks really familiar. Who is that hunky stud?
I didn't recognize him at all.
That was TV's RoboCop, son. That was Richard Richard Eden.
Oh, I didn't recognize him without the helmet on.
Yep. I was like, oh shit, I know that hunky stud. That's Richard Eden. That's Canada's RoboCop, baby. He was
94 RoboCop.
Yep, he was also in Freddy's Dead, or not Freddy's Dead, Freddy's Nightmares.
Freddy's Nightmares, yep.
As
both of those are appropriate nostalgia TV episodes. Please check our backlog.
See, I could shill for us.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I could do callbacks. I don't shill well. I call back well. Anyway. Nerds! Oh. But that was a great episode. I love that episode again because she was wearing just not a lot, just enough for my imagination to have to work, and that was okay.
Yeah, that one was a really good one too. It worked very well for me. I'd rank that as my second favorite episode so far, just because it did catch me off guard.
Yes, and it did confuse me because again, I didn't know if he was having a dream, if he was seeing ghosts, if he was the ghost,
or if it was the stupid clock that was doing some sort of transportation through time thing. Because initially, when you hear her downstairs screwing around with another guy, it's like, yo, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, like that was making me uncomfortable for him. Like, I know you're a horrible piece of shit, but ain't nobody wants that like right there in front of them. That's messed up.
Like, you finally slipped. That should have been his first warning, is like, she was a virgin, and how old is she? Like 33 and never had sex before? Like, okay. That's not a knock on virgins. I'm just saying, like,
they should have had like a wine cork sound effect, like you really are a virgin, I know.
She's like, well, yeah.
Crack that open.
I took that cherry. She's my cherry pie. Put a smile on your face, 10 miles wide. Well, or a 10-inch axe wide across your chest.
The axe was very popular in this show.
Yep. They should have gotten sponsored by Axe body spray back then.
Acme. Yeah, something like that.
Oh, yeah. That said, we got one more episode, Kevin. Collection completed with Emmett Walsh playing Jonas, a retired individual who finally has to, how do I put this properly? Put up with his wife for the first time in 47 years.
Yeah. I was trying to explain that to my wife. I'm like, now the dude retires. And she says, so he's having to adjust to retired life. He's having to deal with his wife every day.
And she's having to deal with him too.
Yeah. I got the look like I'm not interested. I didn't press this time like I pressed at the pilot episode.
You could have just said, well, she kills the husband at the end.
But god damn, this was so good. Like I felt
it was good but goofy.
I felt seen in a way. Like this is the episode that I should have not liked. Excuse me, at all. It's got cruelty to animals.
Yeah.
It's very misogynistic. Emmett Walsh is an ass. He's the asshole grandfather in Harry and the Hendersons. So like, yeah, he's gonna be an asshole in this too.
He plays that character very well in a lot of different movies and shows. Just saying.
But I also felt really seen here. Like his wife is crazy, and he starts to find out that his wife's not just annoying. She like his friends and the neighbors like talk while he's not around. Like, well, we thought you knew. She had a squirrel on top of her head, and he's like, the fuck now?
He's like, I'm gone how long hours in a day, and I don't know this shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, my wife's wearing a squirrel as a hat throughout the day, and the whole neighborhood knows except for me.
And they're totally cool with it too.
Mm-hmm. And so like, every time he tries to start to like talk to her or figure something out that she's doing, he gets interrupted by more antics with the neighborhood animals.
Or with the neighbor who keeps trying to get him model airplane kits.
Which I'm jelly about because I'm like kind of like, dude, I'd fucking totally rock those with you, man. That's
Yeah,
cool.
if somebody gave me those, I'd fucking put those together. Well,
Let's go.
Hopefully at retirement.
Close all the windows in the garage and fucking crack that glue open and put this motherfucker together.
Some spray paint too. Let's fucking go. Huffing time.
Whoo! Now let's put it together. Anyway, but you know what? I liked this episode. I laughed most of the way through it.
Yeah.
You don't see any cruelty to animals. It's heavily implied.
Oh, it's the second animals start disappearing, it's like, oh shit.
But like you see him get it much, much worse than any of the animals.
Absolutely.
And again, it's all funny. Like this show never shows anything bad happen to anything or anyone that doesn't have it coming already.
Right.
Like if they do get hurt, they are the pivotal force that kills the bad guy by the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So like to hear that this guy just like starts killing all the animals in his neighborhood, you're misinterpreting the episode. Like,
yeah,
he goes nuts, and to fix his problem, he starts killing all these animals, and like everyone starts telling him, in order to survive retirement, you need to get a hobby. So he gets a hobby. He gets taxidermy.
as the hobby. Well, it's forced retirement. He didn't really want to retire. It's like once he was all dressed up and he's like, I'm starting my new hobby. I'm like, oh, he's gonna go actually get a part-time job somewhere because you could still do that.
Yes.
And that didn't happen. It's like, oh, okay. Just gonna start, animals are gonna just start disappearing, and one by one they all go bye-bye.
Yeah, and it's kind of like Slither, where he gets that fancy new lock on his basement door.
Yeah.
And he's yelling at his wife to stay the hell out of the basement.
Told you not to come down here, woman.
God damn it, what are you doing here?
This is my man cave, woman. Especially with my golden hammer you're about to kill me with.
Yeah, like don't worry about that really sweet smell.
Yeah. Like you ain't smelled this for like the last like how many days I've been doing this for. Well, she sewed him back together.
That looked really cool too.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that. And I also like Crypt Keepers like joke about he's very filled and he's so stuffed. Dropping the zingers. I should have clipped that.
No one dropped zingers like he did. Like the only like James Bond walked so the Crypt Keeper could run when it came to one-liners.
Oh yeah. I think I've played all the clips except one so far. So yeah, he did pretty damn good. I enjoyed him. And, you know, this is a fun episode. I wouldn't say it's like the best of the season, but it's a good way to end actually with something a bit more over the top. And Emmett Walsh he's so good at playing this kind of crazy character. I'm like, you know what, this oddly works for me, and I actually really enjoyed it. It ends with a good tone to it. Like, this is what you're in store for with this show. Like, we're gonna go from the serious moments to a little more kind of goofy. They're still gonna have some serious moments in them, but we're gonna have a range of comedy and situations here, and you're all gonna sit back and enjoy it on a week-by-week basis here on HBO, because you get, what is it, 5? Yeah, this goes 7 seasons, everybody.
Oh shit, really?
Yep.
Wow.
And currently we're only planning to do season 1, but we're not wrapping up quite yet, everybody. But if we get enough views and enough likes on this video, we could be tempted to do another season of this after we do Blade, because this is a pretty quick watch.
Oh, dude, it looks like Molly Ringwald's in season 2. Anyway, yeah.
Season 2.
I'm looking down at Episode 16 looks like her.
Okay.
TV shock journalist again. Oh shit! It's Morton Downey Jr. Baby. Fuck yeah.
Hey, I mean it, everybody. If we get decent numbers on this video, we'll come back and we'll do another season before we hit up our December slate. We'll work it in somehow.
So that was not Molly Ringwald. Anyway, Morton Downey Jr. sounds even cooler for this kind of show.
And season 2 is 18 episodes. So
yeah, like this. I don't even know what episode this is. It's got Miguel Ferrer in it, but it's 8.
Miguel Ferrer. Oh damn, dude!
It's got 8 stars. 8 stars. Nothing we watch has 8 stars.
Well, we got Demi Moore as the first episode in season 2.
Okay, so that's here. Like 8 stars in itself.
Kelly Preston. We have Lance Henriksen. We have Pamela Glenn, D.W. Moffat. We have Gavin O'Hurley, Paul Lieber, Miguel Ferreira, Terry Hatcher.
Oh, really?
Yep. Kim Delaney, Michael Ironside, Katie Seagal, Iggy Pop, Patricia Arquette, Bobcat Goldthwait, Don Rickles, Carol Kane, Moses Gunn, and John Clare. And then we also have Harry Anderson. We have Jeff Yeager. We have Richard Thomas, Patricia Clarkson, Morton Downey Jr., Timothy Stack, Jonathan Stark. Larry Drake is back again in the final episode of season 2.
Nice. Is he Santa?
That episode is called The Secret.
So we can't find out.
Well, that's a secret, Kevin.
Yeah, I can't tell you. Jesus.
Shit. So, make sure you give us a watch. You hit a like button down below. That'll help.
Yeah. Tell us that you like the shit. We'll do more of it.
Exactly. That's the whole point. Now, do you feel like they did a pretty good job with this season setting up for like more seasons that makes you want to tune in for more, Kevin? How did it make you feel on that?
Yeah, like let me see if I can get it here, if it'll show up on the screen for you. Probably not. But the way they end it, showing the show it. Oh, it's gonna skip ahead. And my green screen's not gonna anyway. Where it shows Emmett Walsh being stuffed, like just the way that they kind of show that, and they leave that being one of the final scenes that you see for the season. It starts you off with this sassy narration, and it ends you with this over-the-top stuffed old man.
Yeah.
Like the show is all over the place, but it's never boring. It's never bad. It's never cheesy. Like never bad cheesy. Like if it gets cheesy, it's
they rein it back in.
Yeah, it's to fit that time constraint of 25 minutes. Like, oh, and by the way, the cops have been after you. There's your twist of fate. You know, you've been electrocuting all these people, but the cops have been after you. We forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
Like anyway, always that twist of fate, but I digressed. I 0-pointed myself.
That's okay. That just kind of accentuates my point on like sometimes there's a kind of a skip in logic and it makes you wonder, so were the cops on him the entire time, or was that just because they had to cut out pages again?
Yeah, right. Cut out pages. Sorry, Fred.
Yep. Sorry, Fred. Got to cut you out. But, you know, it looked like he wrote more episodes in season 2. I think he was on the show for a bit of time. So I enjoy him. And I think it did a pretty good job with the first 6 episodes to set up for like, hey, this is a fun time. And you want to tune into HBO so you can get something a little more adult than anything else that's out there.
Yeah. And again, you're seeing some of the most attractive people that you could think of at the time. And
top-notch talent, everybody.
Yeah, and you think that they're all naked and stuff, but they've got some pretty convincing body doubles.
Yeah, they do. Except for the strippers. Those were pretty much themselves.
Emmett Walsh was all man. Pure sex.
I'll take your word for that, Kevin. You would know.
That man is pure sex.
Twisted steel and sex appeal.
Taxidermy. It's all stuffing. Stuffing.
He knows how to stuff it, Kevin.
Phrasing. Now I'm trying to get us demonetized. Sorry.
Well, you got any other fun thoughts about Tales from the Crypt season 1?
Golly, you know, they kind of threw a ball to see if it would catch, and it did. They didn't have the huge budget for this particular season, but they kind of gave it their all. They had, it's a short season, it's a concise season, but it's a fun season. And if memory serves, the rest of the 7 years are just like this. It's a lot of fun. I'm not bored watching any of these. There's no filler slog. So this was a home run. This particular season is a home run for me.
Absolutely. And it's good proof positive that, hey, this is a successful show. It has quality to it. It's got great talent involved. Like, what more could you ask for other than a good, fun time? And it never overstays its welcome. Like, I could argue it could be longer episodes, but at the 25 minutes, it's pretty crisp. It's pretty on point. Some episodes might feel a little slower than others, but, you know, that's just the change in the pacing that they have sometimes. And you're going to get that with any show from this era. Like, that's just the way it was back then.
Fred's got a few extra pages if you need time.
Yeah, about 20. Sorry, Fred. We're just messing with you, buddy.
I got some backstory.
But that said, thank you everybody for tuning in to Tales from the Crypt Season 1 on Nostalgia TV, your graveyard shift of forgotten television. Please be sure to hit the like button down below. Comment, memories, thoughts, opinions, questions you want to have for us. Put them down below. We would greatly appreciate that. And also, when you hit that subscribe button down below, hit the little bell notification so you can stay tuned to all of our video content. And also, if you're a Tales from the Crypt fan and you are interested in this show, you can find some of these episodes on YouTube. We have an Amazon affiliate link in our description down below. If you go purchase that off of that link, Amazon might kick us back a few cents just to keep the lights on around here. Greatly appreciate it if you do. If you don't, hey, that's cool too. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We will see you next time.